Yeah, it struggled at the end there. So, hi, my name's Timothy Spires from, or should I say, Rundle-Spiers from Slipstream Creative Agency. Um, Nearly got that wrong. Got married just before Christmas and double-barreled my surname. So, hey, I'm still getting used to it. So, as content creators, we wanted to speak to you today about animations. So, I'm joined with my dear friend who works with me, Ant Steele, who leads up animation creation. So, Ant, how are you doing today?
Hi Tim. Hi Tim. Yeah, I'm doing good, thank you.
Right, good to see you. So, just Ant, let's introduce you to our audience. We just want to find out a little bit more about you. So, Ant, tell me, where you're from.
Yeah. So I'm originally from the UK. I did grow up in South Africa, so I studied graphic design. After studying graphic design, I actually went straight into animation. Back in those days, it was all self-taught, so we self-taught ourselves the software. We did courses as the years went on, and that's been, yeah, looking back now on 30 years of doing advertising, animation for TV and film.
Yeah, brilliant. So, I suppose that the great thing about that is you're very used to working with clients, working with client briefs, and turning those into reality.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, right in the beginning when I started animation, we were doing stuff mainly for kiosks, for touchscreen kiosks. So it would be sort of ATM machines, the animations that you got on an ATM machine, or computers, sort of like training modules on the computer. And then later on, as the technology developed, it became more TV and more production based. But the brief has always been, gold right from the start. The golden rule, in a way, of animation is to make sure that you can, really, really
Yeah,
plan what you're doing before you jump into it, because
yeah,
it's not the kind of thing you want to be repeating over and over again.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing I love about you, Anne, is you've got such a wealth of experience and in slightly different areas and sectors and everything. So I think that's really, really great and really useful to bring so much different things to the cooking pot. So what we're doing here is we're going to do a little short series of talking about these animations. So today we're going to get into a bit about working with the client, taking on the briefs, how we are going to storyboard those from the scripts, how to, refine scripts. And next week, we'll be looking at the storyboards we're creating, and then from talking to the client, how we actually change those around, adjust those, and then the following week we'll get on to what an actual animation from those briefs look like. Um, so, Ant, tell us a bit more about the this taking the briefs and the importance of the scripts and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, I think, it's easy to sort of it's easy to sit down as an animator and have a storyboard, or have a brief, let's say, before the storyboard, but have a brief, and you can easily get yourself lost in, okay, what do I need to do? I need to create this, I need to create that, I need to move this thing to there, etc., etc. And
Yeah,
really, that isn't the right way to go about it. What the first step really should be to remember that you're a storyteller, and you need to kind of figure out the why are we telling the story? What is the purpose of this message? What is the client trying to convey, their single-minded proposition, if you were, to the audience? And once you crack that in your head, then it
mm,
makes everything else so much simpler. So you're always you're always creating stuff, even though you're doing cool animation, you're staying on track with what it is that the message should be. So that is really the best way to approach the client brief. Really understand that. And over the years, my relationship with creative directors, and with
mm,
agencies, or whoever I'm working with, has been based on the fact that I've been able to luckily understand what they want, and then
mm.
that makes the delivery process a lot more efficient as well.
Yeah, and I agree. And it's as we just try and really get under the bonnet of these projects and really try and get in the head of the client. And you can kind of almost not ask too many questions,
Yeah.
and shouldn't be worried about asking those difficult questions or the awkward questions, or if you don't understand something, just drill in and until you really have got it, I think.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's so important just to really understand what it is that you're
Mm.
doing, really understand the message. Obviously, there's the given things like the branding, the style guide, being on point with your colors, all that kind of stuff. But that's academic in a way. I think the important thing is to grab the essence of what this communication is all about. And
Yeah,
then you can bring that across as a creative. If you can bring
yeah.
that across in the animation, that almost dictates as well the style and the mood and the tone of how you
Mm.
do everything.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And we find that clients will all work in different ways, because some have got some experience of creating animations, some have never done it before and don't know how to start or where to start.
Yeah.
What would your advice be to people that are just setting out on this journey?
My advice would be that, first of all, animation is a super, super duper medium. I'm not just saying that because I'm in animation, but it's
Yeah.
a really cool medium. If you want to tell a brand story, you want to get those values across, it's neutral as well. There's a lot of scope that you can do in animation, and
Mm,
it doesn't have to be hugely expensive either.
mm,
Yes, you can go crazy with it and you can spend a lot of money on animation, but you can also, at an entry level, create a lot of content. Today, it's getting easier and easier to create good content at an affordable price.
yeah.
So somebody who wants to just get into it, I would say, the best step forward is to pick a small project, pick something that's like quite a doable little project, and just have a go. You know what I mean? Just you speak to people like us, and
Yeah.
let's do something with a logo, or let's do something with a short little message. It can be a little sting, or it can be a little teaser.
Mm,
And once the nice thing about animation as well is that once you spent that time setting up, if it's a character or if it's a logo or whatever else it is, and you've created that asset, you can then utilize that asset again and again and again. So
yeah.
it kind of
Yeah.
like pays for itself in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, loaded question here. Now, obviously, people can do a lot online. There's free bits of online software. They can create little animations and everything, or they can come to an agency like us. So I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about why come to an agency as opposed to doing something yourself, and what's the pros and cons of both.
Yeah. So as absolutely as you say, I mean, it is great that there's so much that you can do
Yeah.
yourself these days, and I love that as well. I mean, there's stuff that you can do on your mobile phone now that, I mean, 10 years, 15 years ago, we couldn't even do on our big machines. So that has changed the way people go around things. But at the end of the day, you still are looking for a professionally made product that meets all the check boxes, meets all the criteria that you're trying to deliver. And also, you want something that you can jump back into and further add on to in the future.
Yeah.
And a lot of the turnkey kind of like little solutions that you get, they can give you something very quick and very easy to do, but then being able to take that a step further is almost impossible.
Mm,
So yeah, I'd say like the pros of doing it yourself is that you can probably get something out relatively cost effectively, but you can't customize it to any sort of great level. It's pretty much out the box, and it'll look like it's out the box to a lot of people. Whereas the advantage to going to professionals like us is that we will tailor made something specifically for you, um, that not only looks unique, but you own it, it's yours,
mm,
and it does exactly what you want it to do.
mm. Well, yeah, I mean, it's exactly what I mean. I would add to that, yes, these, using these online little platforms, for agility, it can be very fast to quickly put
Yeah.
something together. You'll be working from templates. Other people might have already used those will have used those templates. It won't have that uniqueness. Can be fun to experiment with and to play with, and I wouldn't say don't do it. As soon as you want to have something that's a bit more specific to tell, because we're all telling stories, we're communicating, and to really be very specific about your story and very niche into what you do, because everything all of us do is quite niche, or that's what we look for, and that's what we need to be talking about.
Yeah.
That you need someone that can actually create something very bespoke and specific for your
Yeah.
project. So that's kind of just agreeing with you, Ant.
Yeah,
In a different way.
the turnkey solutions, they, as you said, I mean, they are templates. A lot of them are templates that you can use. But yeah, they won't, they'll be geared towards the companies that make the templates want you to sign up for their templates. Obviously, that's their business. They want you to be a customer where you are paying every month to get their templates and
That's
etc.
it. Yeah.
So that's their goal. Whereas our goal is to give our customer exactly what they want for that purpose.
For that purpose.
So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
we're much more focused on the needs of the client.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. So first step, we're talking briefs. It's us
Yeah.
taking a good brief. So for the customer, the client, you want to be thinking about be as specific as you can. What is it you want to talk about or convey? Where do you want to be promoting that? So what channels and who your audience is? And those, if you haven't sort of really drilled down into that, if you're a small business and you're just starting out on that journey, of course, we can help you with that by teasing out all those questions and drilling down on that. But yeah, the more information, the more you can think about and plan that, the better. So then, obviously our next steps from a brief is we're starting to look to creating a script, or you've already got a script that you'll be sharing with us. Wouldn't you say, Ant?
Yeah, absolutely. And the script is really, really a very important part of an animation, because there's a lot happening visually in animation, obviously. So there's always this kind of like balance that needs to happen between the script and the animation. You want to be seeing on screen what the script is talking about, obviously at the time, but also you don't want the script to be just telling you what you're seeing anyway. So there's a good relationship that has to happen between the script and a really good animation will have a well-crafted script.
Yeah.
That reinforces what you're seeing, but also adds a bit of value. So you might be seeing something in the animation, but then the script is just giving you a little bit of extra information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, I can share a script so we can just look at. I might be able to do it like, look at that, hey? So this is a script we've been working on at the moment for a client, and I thought might be helpful for the viewer here to sort of see the sort of information that we're taking down, and to help plan out the animation. Now, obviously, with this one, we've got voiceover. Not all animations have to have voiceover, but this does show you a good way of how to plan out your project.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the essentials are there on the script. Timing, obviously, your time counter. It's just a guide at this point in time, but we're basically working on 5 seconds per block on our script, and that's kind of like the rule of thumb when we storyboard as well. Is we kind of like think of each block in the storyboard representing 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And so here on the script, you've got the voiceover in that first 5 seconds, a little bit of what the proposed on screen is going to be. So even though it is a final script, it's really the voiceover that's more final than anything else on here. The timing is a little bit flexible. and also what the proposed visuals are can be a little bit flexible at this point in time. So it's more of a guide. But what we want from the script is we want to have our final voice there.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we're actually looking at creating the storyboard, this is where this is absolutely key as well, isn't it? And
Absolutely. So once we've fine-tuned the script with the client, then that will then go into the storyboarding process, where we just really are putting, as I said, 5 second
yeah,
5 second blocks of visuals with the voiceover, but then we're trying to see how the animation can tie one frame into the next frame and
yeah,
make it a cohesive, nice to watch, interesting, but still on message and on
yeah,
brand story.
yeah, yeah. And of course, this is kind of like the starting point. And as we create the storyboard,
Yeah,
then some things come through that hadn't been thought about or articulated
yeah,
clearly, and so that can then be developed at that stage as well.
yeah. I think that's also part of, I think personally, that's part of the love that I have for animation, is that,
Yeah,
every day isn't the same, every project isn't the same. Every single piece of work I've ever done is uniquely different, because things
yeah,
do come out of the woodwork as you kind of planning
yeah,
them and preparing
yeah,
them, and then when you're animating them as well, you see opportunities to do. Oh, that would be great if we tied this into this, and etc.
yeah,
etc. And we just, all week there's another place we can bring in the logo here or whatever it is,
yeah,
and I think that's really exciting. So having that flexibility, having the planning is super important, but having
yeah,
the flexibility to be able to be creative is also
yeah,
very, very important.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So the next step, of course, is we then, from this information, we then are discussing this with the client, and then getting as many more ideas in the next meeting to then take into the storyboard.
Yeah,
So then we'll do a mock up of the storyboard. But obviously, with animation, there's different types of animation as well, and getting an understanding of the client. Type of animation that they want is quite important. I always think, asking people for reference animations they've seen before, any reference imagery or videos or anything that they've seen that they like, or things they particularly don't like, or what their competitors are doing,
yeah.
whether they like it or don't like it, I think is really super important. And not because we want to copy, but it helps us know what they like and what they don't like, which direction they want to go in. Wouldn't you say, Ant?
I would definitely say that, Tim. You know, Years ago, you just used to say to somebody, "Oh, I'm an animator. I do animation," and they were like, "Oh, that's great." And over the years, it became, you had to say either 2D animation or 3D animation, and then 3D animation went from meaning three-dimensional to meaning stereoscopic 3D, and then you know what I mean. And then then motion graphics became a big thing, and people were doing more motion graphics, and they're doing stuff with Shockwave Flash on the internet. And now today we've got things like Unreal Engine, where you've got real-time graphics. So there's such a vast field of animation. There really
Mm,
is. Understanding what the client wants, what their needs are, is really, really important. And
yeah.
as you're saying, the reference, no, we're not copying. No, nobody's copying anything, but we do need to know sort of what direction in this vast, sphere of animation, what look, or what kind of tone, what kind of voice do you want for your animation? That's
Mm.
what's so important.
Yeah, absolutely. I can share as well a storyboard we're working on, so it just helps. There we go. Give people an idea of how we might lay out a storyboard, and so we'll come back to this more next week. But just and if you just quickly tell people about how we're laying this out and how we work through, and what that means.
Yeah, sure. So this storyboard is for an explainer video, and one of the key parts of an explainer video is that the animation sequences blend into each other. So one frame will then sort of de un, unbuild itself and then rebuild itself into the next frame. So that's really, really important to get the flow of how this is working across this storyboard. Each one of the frames here obviously is trying to link into what the voiceover is saying, but we're all the time thinking of how we're going to get into this frame and how we're going to get out of the frame, with the sequence of the different elements popping up, animating, closing, which is why then when we go to create the animation, we then know what layers we need, what order the layers need to be in, and all of those different components.
Yeah. And of course, the difficulty there for the client is to actually visualize these all blend together. So
Yeah,
it's almost like a snapshot throughout
yeah,
the animation where they all overlap.
100%. I mean, we're showing you all the rooms in a house, yet you're only going to be in one at any time. Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so really useful. And in fact, that storyboard I showed you there is not how that project ended up. So next week we can talk more about how that storyboard developed through discussion and with the client, and how we sort of adapted it, which I think will be really interesting. I mean, and your specific specialty is not so much the 2D animation; it's more 3D and other things, isn't it? Animation.
yeah, that's correct. So I have a love for 2D animation. I started off in 2D animation. The very first animated program I did was an adult literacy program, which was all
Yeah.
2D animated. But then I moved from 2D to 3D. And one of the main reasons why I was drawn to 3D was for characters. So I've got a big love for characters. I love creating characters. And 3D characters are kind of a big thing for me.
Mm,
So that kind of drove me more into the 3D world. Little characters that I've animated over time go from KFC's little chicken to Energizer's battery man. So
mm,
I've done a lot of characters that have been on TV, and yeah, so that's always been my passion the
mm,
most has been the.
mm.
And then I've got a few of my own little stories that I've been working on as well, with little animated characters, which is all 3D. So I just
Mm.
the
Yeah,
2D the 2D is another world that is equally as fun for me,
yeah,
and as challenging. But the 3D, to me, I can tell a more cinematic story.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very engaging as
Yeah,
well, and it's very
yeah,
exciting. But just to go slightly off topic, just for fun, and
yeah.
tell us about some of the other stuff that you're passionate about that you do.
Okay, cool. So you can probably see in the background there's some spray cans. So like I spent a large portion of my life sitting behind a computer, which is cool, and I'm very very happy I did that, and I'm still continuing to do that. But I kind of like about 10 years ago, I felt like I really wanted to get back into tactile kind of art medium, and I wanted to either paint or sculpt or do something again that wasn't computer based. And I decided to pick up some spray cans, and I kind of got into doing murals and spray painting with murals. So it's more like a hobby pastime, but it is kind of becoming a bit more of a project for me because we're trying to work out a way to combine the animation with the murals, which is kind of fun, a fun idea. So yeah, that's really kind of like another little passion, little hobby of mine.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Um, and the jackets.
And the jackets, yeah. So painted a number of jackets. Um, just doing the backs of jackets. Painted some shoes as well. Just to,
Yeah.
just paint anything really. I've got a friend who wants me to paint his van. I think at the end of this month. So I'm going to be painting a lion on the side of a van. which could be quite cool. So it's kind of like more of pastime hobbyist kind of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, that's what you got to do, is stay creative and stay close to your art. I think that's really important. I mean, the 3D side of things on the computer, yes, you're using your creative skills, but
Yeah.
you're not really being an artist in that sense of throwing paint around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, am I right? You were saying you're doing something in the local community at the moment.
Yes. So what's quite exciting is there's a arts festival coming up in St Albans. I'm going to be painting a wall that is it's 50, I think 17 meters long, the wall. So that's really, really exciting. The message will be about hope. It will be about empowerment. And the murals, the kind of murals that I want to do in the community, are to be, I want to do murals that will be uplifting for people. It'll be something that either gives them, a little bit of sunshine on a rainy day, or a little bit of a positive message. So that's really the idea, to involve the community as well, to get, invite teenagers to come and help or join in. So a very community-based sort of project.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
And for the audience, I'm in St Albans. My studio's in St Albans, and most of my team are here in this area as well. So that's how Ant and I work together, and that's why I think it's really nice, these sort of project that Ant's working on, and that's why we fully support and promote it. So that's really cool. I think that's been really fascinating. I hope that's been really interesting and useful to people that are either entering this animation space, or you're a bigger business or a corporate that wants something quite sophisticated. You still kind of need to go through the same processes, to get there. So, just say to anyone, happy to chat it through. We can jump in a meeting, do a Zoom, whatever works for you guys, just to open up what's possible with your projects or what ideas you might have going forward. So next week, hopefully we'll be getting Carl on the live stream with us, and we'll be looking at the actual creation of the storyboards and how we start to bring that to life. So thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us. And any last
Yes.
words?
Not really any last words, just that I do want to say that animated characters are always ready to work for your brand. So, they don't go out for a night out and aren't available the next day. Animated characters always there. So
Yeah.
I'm a big,
Man.
yeah.
I expected you, Ant, to go like love and peace or something. And out. Okay, cool. So thanks, guys, for watching, and look forward to seeing you same time next week, 12:30 on Tuesday on this channel. So all the best. Catch you all later.